be heard. Have your say. Join the conversation on Lagos Talks 91.3.
Welcome to another Lagos Talks special on Lagos Talks 91.3. My name is Emmanuel Odelu, and I have a very, very special guest in the studio with me. I know many of you are tuned to your radio sets now, anxiously waiting to listen to what we've got in store for you today. And let me quickly go and introduce my guest. He is the MD CEO of the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, LAWMA, as you know it. And his name is Mr. Oresanya. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Emmanuel. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. And I must ask you, because I got quite a number of calls from friends and our listeners who were saying, we thought Mr. Oresanya was brought in as a consultant to LAWMA. And I said I did my findings to be very sure, because at some point I got very confused and I didn't want to commit that blunder. But I called a few people and they confirmed to me that you're now MD CEO. So at what point did that change?
Well, just along the line, I came in consulting, and I think the government believed that, okay, look, why don't you have your hand on the wheel and just take a decision, sink or swim. I take it from that angle, rather than giving advice or consulting, sink or swim.
But I also heard from a very reliable source. You know, this is what we all say.
Right.
We journalists, we always say that reliable source, but we never disclose.
Yeah.
That source told me that initially, when you had the first interactions with the Lagos state government, that you personally wanted to be a consultant. And then it was along the line that the government felt that for your impact to be felt, that was better for you to have this new designation. Is this story true?
Let me keep that to my chest.
Well, so I'm going to pretend as if I don't know anything about you. I like to do this on this show. Can you tell Lagosians your foray into public service, how it came about?
Well, I've been in public service until 2015. I had a clear 30 years sojourn in the public service from 1985 to 2015. And was a CEO for LAWMA for 10 years of that 30 years, 2005 to 2015, May to May 2002. So it was a clean cleavage, and I voluntarily retired in 2015 to go into my private practice. Because I believe as a professional in waste management, there are other things beyond just the profession. There's a business of that profession. And I just wanted to have my hands on the business of the profession of waste management, so that to serve other states in Nigeria, because I could see the business, the field is big, is wide, and the money to be made out there from the business out there. So and I ventured into my private business from 2015. Until 2018, December to be precise, when I was recalled for this emergency service. Yes, just like you said, initially as a consultant, and metamorphosed into CEO.
I like that. Yes, and so I'll try as much as possible to answer some of the questions that have been posed to me informally, because I've had a lot of people ask me immediately they saw that you were going to come on this show, that they were asking me some questions, and of course I couldn't prefer any answers. You spoke about retirement, but the stories we heard seemed to go contrary to that. Did you retire from public service, or were you asked to leave?
I retired voluntarily. I put on my letter because I had planned to leave government service, because I actually wanted to leave on May 23rd, 2015. I wrote my letter of retirement then anyway, voluntary retirement. I still had about 5 years to spend in service anyway. You need to have either you're 60 years old or you spend 35 years in service. But I felt like, look, there's so much to do out there. And 10 years being a CEO, what else? I mean, I thought I've seen it all. I've groomed other people to do the job. So let me go out there and do something new. So I was anxious to get out of office, to do something, be free and do my thing. You know, that of government restriction, you know, when you're public service, you're restricted somehow. You can't really fully express yourself.
Too many rules and...
Too many rules, you know. I mean, the rules of engagement are so dogmatic that you just have... And I'm not the kind of a person, I love to express myself. So I was anxious to really leave government. But, you know, I had to wait for the government then to take over instead of working out on... To look like, oh, the government was going to resume on the 27th and they were moving out on 23rd. So why did you wait and let the government resume? So that I did. And I think I accepted my resignation and I left fully in July. But my mind was off the job from May 23rd, 2015.
Wow.
But I left fully and I have a letter of congratulations for good service.
Yeah, expectedly so, because, you know, some of us who were working in close quarters with government as at that time, even as journalists, we saw the trajectory of LAWMA and all the policies and the actions that were taken during that time. What would you say are the things that actually worked for you, that put LAWMA where it was as at the time you left it?
Yeah, the people I work with, the team. I was lucky to have a very good team. I was lucky to have a very good team. I must say it over and over again. From the public service, well, not from the private sector, from the public service of Lagos State. You know, we were able to, yes, somebody can have a vision. Yes, there was a vision. All right, there was an aspiration. But without the people, there was nothing. So I had a very good team. And that time, right, and we were able to articulate our points, our views. So well, and the commitment was huge. From the sweeper on the road to the people who were managing who were in the management team with me, there was this unusual commitment from the public sector, all in a bid to make sure that, look, it is possible, we can do it, and we were all determined, we were all committed to it, and we did it. So even the investors, the private sector, I mean the PSP people, everybody, were all determined to make Lagos a cleanest city. Not just in Africa, we wanted it to be mentioned in the world. That look, if nothing else, Lagos should be one of the cleanest cities in the world. That was the dream. That was the inspiration. That was the kind of a zeal, the passion that was driving the commitment from everyone along the value chain there. You know. So, and I tell you, I had a very, very good team. So that was the real bedrock.
You're talking about having a good team. You immediately left LAWMA. The waste management system or machinery in Lagos took on a new identity, so to speak, and things were done a little bit differently. Well, whether it was intended to turn out differently is a story for another day, but we all saw what happened. Now, at the point of departure from existing style or modus operandi, as it were, when you were with LAWMA, at some point it appeared as if there were some minor problems. Then all of a sudden we saw that the problems were now more than minor, and then there was this public outcry, so much that even on this station I've had a few interviews where the topic was the waste management crisis, and some people felt I was being too harsh, and I said, of course there is a crisis, because as at that point you could look around and see that there was a big problem. At what point do you think, based on your experience as a professional, that things went wrong in terms of waste management in Lagos?
Well, whatever I say right now about that will be a kind of a second-hand information, because in fairness, I was not a member of the team then, so I was not directly involved. So whatever information I probably will have invested now, they should be taken as half true, half lie. So
why is that?
Yeah, because it's a second-hand information. So I would not want to be so authoritative on an information. I cannot just say, oh, look, this is exactly what went wrong. But I can only talk from the consumer point of view. I was consuming the service then. I was an outsider. So and I could see a kind of a gap, a lacuna, so the lawyer would call it lacuna, in between the people providing the service and the product, which was supposed to be the service. There was a disconnect. The people could not connect with the aspiration of the investors, and the investors could not connect with the need of the people. So there are fundamental assumptions on the two sides, and a lot of erroneous one for that matter too. So there was a lot of agitation, and the service was not there, and the investors were in their own thinking that we are trying, we are putting so much effort, people are not embracing us, and the people said, look, we can't see you, and there was no service, bottom line. So it now became the issue of, oh, you are sabotaging me. No, I'm not sabotaging you, and blame games came in, and the crisis, like you say, the government realized there was a crisis then.
It took a long time.
Something like that, but eventually, because it was a blame game initially. I mean, who was right, who was wrong, who was right, so the expectations are there. Everybody thought, no, I'm right, and you are wrong, I'm right. And so everybody started throwing at each other. But one thing I know, the fact that I knew then, that there was a team, I talked to you about people, the greatest asset then. All right, and they were trained, and they had all the knowledge, they knew what to do. But unfortunately, they were sidelined, and I think maybe that was probably the origin of the problem, both within LAWMA and also the private investors, the PSP group. The PSP, yes, they had their own 20-year developmental plan that they were following. Buying new trucks, investing, and making the business bankable along the line. So we were grooming them, following a sequence, and the space was clearly defined also within that sequence. But eventually there was a disconnect, all right, and that led to the crisis. All right, so I don't know, I don't want to blame anybody.
I understand that part, but maybe out of curiosity, let me ask you, the aspect of waste management that first took the big hit was that of evacuation. What was your style that was adopted by LAWMA when you were at the head of LAWMA?
Well, then, the first thing you do in tackling the problem is understanding the problem itself. So we took time to understand the size of the elephant we were going to consume. We wanted to eat that elephant up. What's the size of that elephant? So we started with being able to map out the footprint and the size of the waste itself. And then we were able to disaggregate the elephant into bits and pieces. We brought in social investors, we call them the PSP, they're social investors, and SMEs, and we were able to delineate the city or the state into smaller groups and allow them to invest. And rather than government investing in it, so we allowed them to invest. So then what we now did was to create a business model that secure the investment, so that in areas where they cannot recover cost, government was bearing the risk for them. So we wanted people to work, and they were investing, and I would give them a kind of a market guarantee. So, and I think that was the thing that spurred them into more investment. And with the regulatory control, we also acquired knowledge. People were trained in LAWMA, because the knowledge was a weapon to regulate. You regulate with knowledge. So we were able to develop a service level agreements with those people, and they're coming with knowledge and the commitment to that knowledge, and a lot of truthfulness and professionalism. And those people, they were able to follow LAWMA genuinely, believing that LAWMA would take them out of that, to the promised land. And that was what was going on. So collection was improving. All right, and I think we're almost at about 85% efficiency rate as of 2005 then, and the aspiration was to run to almost 100% efficiency rating. So, and that was moving on. We could see the progression as we were climbing the ladder, and we were able to pull a team, an army of workers were following us then. The pyramid, the triangle was clearly defined. So the leadership was running with vision, and at the next level were running with commitment and a shared vision, and the others were following because they could see diligence and they could see truthfulness in the whole business, and that was it. So we're able to make that progress along that line that way.
Okay. If you're listening to us, I have with me in the studio the MD CEO of the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, LAWMA. His name is Mr. Oresanya, and we've been talking about an update. What we're doing here is doing an update on waste management in Lagos. We'll soon go on a short break, but before we go on that break, I know you as a music lover, so I'd like you to think of what's kind of music you like to listen to this hot Saturday afternoon before we go on that break. Well, before that break, one more question that will lead up to what we will be discussing when we come back from that break, and that is public-private partnership. You know, in this part of the world, most of the time the layman or the regular man on the street does not even understand what it's about in the first place. Most of it is not really clear most times when government announces these partnerships. And leading up to where we are now, the Lagos State government went into some form of partnership with an investor, which was Visionscape. Now, I noticed that for some buildings that they occupied and were running their businesses from, or their operations, so to speak, has now been replaced by LAWMA. I'm going to ask now, as a professional, not as the MD or CEO of LAWMA, as a professional, do you think they had the capacity in the first place to undertake the task which they were engaged for in Lagos State?
Well, as a professional, you talk about PPP. Let me do a bit of education on PPP. PPP, yes, is an instrument of inclusion. All right, that the government globally has been using all over the world, been using to bring in the private sector to bridge the gap, either financial or knowledge-wise and technical, within the public sector that is lacking. Then you kind of divide the stake and allow everybody to have a kind of ownership of solution to problems, identify problems. Now, you can have different models. You can have a concession in franchising, contracting, several models of of partnership that you can have with the private sector. But depending on the kind of needs that you want. All right. I think my understanding was when the last concessionaires, the Visionscape, came. It was a concessioning agreement, partnership, because there were equipment owned by government, and they were actually supposed to use those infrastructures on equipment and acquire their own to really make sure that service level actually get better. The intentions are, honestly, between me and you, I think the intentions were right. All right, it was all about going to the next level, but implementation was kind of a bit faulty, in the sense that fundamental assumptions were a bit wrong, and I think maybe a better feasibility study will have enriched the knowledge, and probably the progression will have been clearly defined other than what it was. But by and large, that's a story for another day. The thing right now is that Lagos must remain clean, and we have to rescue the situation. So it's on the restoration part we are, and very soon we'll close the deal.
I understand your body language very much so, considering your position. But during this period that we've been talking about, I spoke with a number of professionals, some experts, and a few of them were of the honest opinion, according to them at least, that it was a question of capacity. And then at first I didn't understand, so I took them up and said, okay, if you talk about capacity, I thought that every business, regardless of whatever you're meeting on ground, as long as you do your feasibility study, you come into the business with the resources needed to take care of the problems. But, at some point, a few of them, like I said, that I spoke to, insisted that when Visionscape was coming into Lagos, they came thinking it was going to be a tea party, and believing that, we'll get by. And then they gave figures and statistics, and one of them even said that, have I done enough research to find out what that company had been doing before it was engaged by Lagos State government? And then I did some digging and discovered that they were not really strong in the area of waste management. I saw a company that did much more in terms of recycling and all that in some other environments where they were doing business before. So could that have been the cause of the problem?
No, I don't think so. You know, when you talk about capacity, all right, you can talk about capacity. Is it financial capacity, technical capacity that you're talking about? All right, other financial or technical capacity, or even the social capacity you're talking about. You know, capacity varies. All right, so when we talk about capacity from that, depending on the need, what do we really need? And I think from my understanding, the Visionscape was not just a company, it was an SPV, was a special purpose vehicle. And a special purpose vehicle, so you can have an aggregate of service providers come together, adopt one name, and for everybody to move forward. I think the main body in the Visionscape has their core strength is in finance, all right, and they're strong when it comes to financial capacity, all right. When you look at the track record of the organization, you know, raising fund for public utility services, I think they're quite vast in that, so we shouldn't rule them out. Now they're talking about providing service for managerial capacity for Lagos. Yes, you don't need to own all the trucks to do it, but you can bring in people that own all the trucks. LAWMA was steering the service issues in Lagos for 10 years. The total number of trucks LAWMA owned was less than 10% of the trucks that was servicing Lagos. But LAWMA was at the driver's seat. So you don't have to, LAWMA, I mean, I was at the last count before I left 2015. The last count we had more than 800 trucks on the road. And I think LAWMA had less than 100 then, working on daily basis. The investors brought in all their money and the service was going on. But you will see the name of LAWMA on all of those trucks because they were franchising on LAWMA's authority. And LAWMA was providing that financial support for them. And I think that's exactly what Lagos needed then. So I think the missing link was the managerial capacity. It wasn't about the financial or technical. It was managerial capacity that was the missing link. I think several things could have led to that. But I think that's where LAWMA is now fixing that bridge, bringing the managerial capacity to make sure that the services were there, to make things work.
Welcome back. It's still a Lagos Talk special on Lagos Talks 91.3. If you're listening to us, we've been talking about waste management. We've been doing an update, more or less, with the MD and CEO of LAWMA, Mr. Oresanya. And if you'd like to join the conversation, the lines to call at this time are 0809 191 3913, 0809 222 0913. You can call the following landlines: 01 236 7913, 01 280 2913, 01 280 3913. You can tweet at us as well at Lagos Talks 913. And you can also drop a message on WhatsApp. The number for that is 0809 234 5913.
Emmanuel.
Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
Good afternoon once again. This is Ambrose.
Oh, I was guessing if you would call today.
I have to. Ambassador Musba, my friend, already told me that Engineer Oresanya will be in the studio. So, Oga, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ambrose. How are you doing?
Yes, we give God the glory. I live in Mowe anywhere, but I'm sure you know that most of us that live in the suburb of Lagos, we earn our living from Lagos. So we are always in Lagos. And we could see clearly what LAWMA was able to do before now. Instead of the Cleaner Lagos initiative, it became the Dirtier Lagos initiative. And when you disengage, PST people that invested so much, just like you have said, buying truck. In fact, some of them were changing from this cheaper to those ones that crush this thing. They had invested so much, and you just jettison them, jettison the people that are working. You created unemployment for several thousands of people. You know, I don't think that is the best way. And I also don't think that the Visionscape should have just left like that anyway. I think that they gave Visionscape more than it could chew. Visionscape should have been, you know, limited to some particular areas. And then LAWMA will also continue. But one thing I want to ask now is this. The Ojota waste, whatever, is full already. And we hear there is, yes, Olushoshu, thank you. And we hear that the evacuation place now is now in Ekpe. Now, I think LAWMA should now go beyond, you know, just dumping refuse now. I want to, and I'm sure that you are thinking in that direction so that they could begin to, you know, this processing and management of waste bin, and then begin to see how these things can become a source of revenue for Lagos State government, and also even power, energy, and all of that. I think that the incinerator in Oshodi, I think there's one also in Ireland. All of this, I want to appeal to the governor, the incoming governor, because I know you are the general manager, that he should look into all of this so that, you know, because whatever way we look at it, the problem that these 4 years has created is not going to take 1 year to be wiped off. So please, I want to appeal to the government and LAWMA to do something very fast and make sure that Lagos is restored back to its past glory. You have done a very good job, and it spoke for itself. Good day.
Thank you, Ambrose, for your call. Before that call came in, I was about to go into Olushoshu. Yes, because I know there was a plan for that place. And then that incident of the fire that broke out from the landfill. So moving forward, what are we looking at as regards Olushoshu, as well as the issues raised by Ambrose?
Well, thank you, Oga Ambrose. Sorry, before I move into that, you say you are living in Mowe. No, you are living in Lagos Annex. Mowe is, all of you, Mowe, you are Lagos Annex.
They are next door neighbors.
Yeah, no, it's part of Lagos Annex.
Annex,
in
okay.
Ogun State, just Lagos Annex in Ogun State. All right, so, yeah, well, talking about Olushoshu, yes, well, you're right about the fact that it will take us some time to restore, but we're determined to restore as soon as possible. And restoration pathway, yes, you will have seen the differences on the street right now. The streets, I think, from my own assessment, is getting cleaner. And yes, we want to first of all get back to the 2015 baselines where we were in 2015. Then we now build on top of that. And our strategy, just like Ambrose said, yes, our focus, which was the next level that we expected in 2015, which also, incidentally, Visionscape 2 was showing interest to go that way, is in resource recovery, which is waste recycling and the rest of it. That's the aspiration. And that's the sustainability key to this. All right? Moving the waste in a linear form from cradle to grave is not the sustainable solution. And that's what we did for a while. But right now, we are closing the loop, the circular economy, we call it. So the waste moves from cradle to cradle. All right? Okay. So yeah, it moves around the loop. And what LAWMA is doing right now is we are creating a resource center at Olushoshu. If you drive around the place, take chance to look look on your right hand side. You see construction work going on there right now. It's a resource center that we are building there where we're going to be training people. We've registered over 600 people already, companies and individuals ready for recycling. So we are building an army of recyclers in Lagos. Fantastic. So there are people who are going to be involved in sorting, both at the sorting centers, and those who are going to be involved with sorting at source, at household level, and there will be people we are training them on what to sort and how to sort the waste, the wet and the dry waste, how to really do it and do it in a very economical manner, and that they are deploying technology for that. So we are training young people who are specializing in sorting at household level and also at the transfer station level. So we are training people into packaging, who know how to package waste properly and get them properly densified, the lightweight, and the way that are not compressible, how to package them for those who are going to turn them into new products. And we are trained those who are going to be doing this, the real conversion of the sorted, recovered material into new products. All right, new product cannot be used. That's the taking it back to cradle. So it's cradle to cradle, and the business loop there is so huge. The value chain is massive. All right, and the kind of money that can go around it's unimaginable. All right, in its crude form that is going right now, in its crude form, what money that is staying hands at Olusosun on daily basis right now in its crude form is nothing less than 15 million naira
on a daily basis.
On daily basis, from what you think is trash, the people you think they look like mad people that is on the dustbin. Some of them are earning much more than those who are putting on tie and coat, driving, transversing from Owe to Lagos Island on a daily basis. What those people make, they're so independent and they make so much money. But right now, we are being that resource center to really show the business line and then make banks able to come and make everything bankable. So the banks can actually give them money, give them loan, and they can actually invest. And LAWMA sits at the administrative end to ensure the loop is actually well managed. So it's not just collecting the waste right now and disposing them. We're collecting them for second lifespan of those materials. And that's our goal the next 10 years. And Lagos needs to have the real hub for waste recycling, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. That's what we're looking at.
So we're looking at a waste to wealth direction now.
Circular economy. It's the economy that starts from the dustbin. It's a fresh economy, right from your dustbin. Okay, so all dustbins, anywhere you see dustbin, it's economy waiting to happen.
Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Man from the corridor, how are you?
Ambassador Musbah, you're welcome.
God bless you. Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah.
Ambassador Musbah, how are you doing?
Manuel, thanks for this program today. Sir, I've listened to you. I have a 3-1 program for you and a question for you. If Odemi will allow me to add a 3-1 question. First of all, I want to commend LAWMA now because to me, when
hello?
not the way, but I don't know what about now that even when the Dead Sea orange now, it don't care anymore. What are you going to do that during the scare death to run away? Secondly, about Oshodi here in my constituency, we have medical waste tackles there. But how about medical waste? There's not like medical waste anymore. Why you go in that direction? And on the 250, promise us that Olusosun will become where we generate electricity, and that things have been tried. That has gone. What are you going to do in that line that even death, see LAWMA, it will run away? What are you doing in that direction?
Ambassador Musbah. Ambassador Musbah. Oh, I wanted him to repeat his first question because we didn't get that.
Yes, thank you, Musbah. We didn't get your first question clearly, but I think I can take the medical waste that you talked about. Well, yes, we started rejigging our process on medical waste, and we're expanding right now. Very soon, you will see that you start seeing new vans on medical waste. So, just like Emmanuel said, I don't think it's, and I think not just Emmanuel, also Ambrose alluded to it, that it's not just Tea Party this time around to revive the system. It will take some time, but I can tell you we are fast tracking it. So medical waste is a key issue that is coming up. Then electricity at Olusosun. Like I said, Olusosun, we are building a resource center right there now. It's not we're planning. It's ongoing right now, the resource center, and it's all about recycling and training where people are going to be trained free of charge. We're not charging anybody. LAWMA is coming strong with knowledge, and I think that's going to be the real strength of LAWMA now, knowledge, and we are going to share it with people free so that we can develop new line of economy and create jobs. When people are knowledgeable about something, I'm sure they will work towards their voluntarily.
Let's take a few messages from Twitter. Ochichiri says, I want to know how you will look into something like provision or car drives car drivers, I'm not sure what he's trying to say here, around, and such things as drinking water to be given to the workers of LAWMA that sweep the streets, and such things during the day as they work. And Ajaro David Obaro says, please, I really need a cleaner Lagos, which translates to clean air for me. I'm an ultra runner. And again, he asks that I would really like to know more about the new waste training program.
All right, yeah, thank you for the fellow that talked about giving our people water. Yes, I'm going to work on that. Thank you for...
That's a very nice suggestion.
Yes, it's a very good one. And you'll be sure you start seeing that. Okay, it's not going to cost much, and we'll be able to do that. And
I think he was making reference to the resource center at Olushosu. That's okay. The waste training program it was to make.
No, that's the last question.
That's the last question, yes.
Yeah, about the training. Yes, the training program. Yes, we are launching an app called the Wasteline. And Wasteline is going to go live in July. And already, if you're interested, you send in your letter right now to NDO LAWMA, and I will invite you among the people we are training. The training, we're already getting everything stratified, but for those who will be online, there'll be online training also through our Wasteline app that will be on, so that people can key in. You may not just want to come to our resource center. We could train you via the web, and we could have a live training on that.
To make it easier for...
To make it easier. But we really want to raise a new army of people who want to do something on recycling.
Okay. Okay, there's another one. This one is sent in by Oluwaseun, and it's on WhatsApp. It says, what is the policy lag time we expect from the Visionscape experience in Lagos? Knowing that all policies are not entirely bad, what part of the Visionscape experience are we going forward with, I guess? The LAWMA and the model of collecting waste at home, especially for rented apartments, where former tenants were owing and didn't pay before leaving.
Well, let me take the first one about the Visionscape idea. Yes, I mean, I agree with that. Like I told you, not everything about Visionscape was bad. There are good things. And what LAWMA is doing right now is to form that mixed grill, the cocktail of what LAWMA was doing before, what Visionscape has done. So we are going to learn from what they did not do right, and what LAWMA did right, and what LAWMA did not do right too. So we mix it all up, and there are new things. And what we succeeded in learning then was we succeeded in learning how not to do it. And that's a major success. So, and we're building on it, and Lagos will be better for it. Okay. You start seeing a bit of line. You know, I mean, lemon color. Visionscape was all lemon, and LAWMA was all orange.
Yes.
But what you are going to be seeing right now is a mixed grace, an aggregate of lemon and green.
Is that to say that LAWMA is coming together with Visionscape, or Visionscape has taken its exit?
Well, no, not exit.
Okay.
This time around, we have to blend and make sure that the knowledge, the gain in within the last 3 years, we don't waste away. We don't waste away. Let's help them and bring them back into the stream. So they're still here with us.
They're still here with us.
They're here with us.
But definitely we won't be seeing so much of the Visionscape presence like before. It will be a synergy of the two.
We're giving them new assignments.
Yes.
And if I must just talk about it, all those equipment that they bought, we're using them at LAWMA right now under the lease agreement. So they're main leasing company to LAWMA. Okay. So you can't tell them to go away with all the equipment. Those equipment right now, so we're leasing those equipment and using those equipment. So they still have a workforce. We are working with them.
Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
Emmanuel, you didn't hear my first question.
Oh, yes, we didn't quite get it.
Yeah, my first question is that how are we going to do it, sir? Before this time around, when refugees see LAWMA, it runs away. But now, refugees keep coming. And even here, I must be fair with you, the men here working here, fantastic. They are doing, because people, the orientation people had before has gone now. How are you going to bring that orientation back? People believe that LAWMA has come. It's like, not like as usual. So that's my question, sir.
Well, yes. I like that when refugees see LAWMA, they run away. No, it was not because LAWMA had a strategy that you deploy your service, your supply end must be more than the rate at which refugees is being generated. So, and I think that's the catch up we are doing right now, and we're almost matching it. And at the end of the day, we stay ahead of refugees. So that's it.
Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
My name is Sociable.
Sociable.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sociable.
Yes. Join the conversation, please.
Yeah. I remember before LAWMA started operation, we had this Kole boys. They were going around the street picking death and as well littering the street. And whenever they pass you along, you perceive one kind of order. So later Fashola said, we can't continue like this. LAWMA came into existence. People appreciated it. I don't know if they had a chemical they used to fleet on the dead. Even if you are eating the fat, you won't perceive any odor. At that time, but recently, I don't know if that chemical has finished. LAWMA has become the former Kole. When they pick that, they litter the main road. Even when the thing is falling down from the truck, they keep moving. And if you are eating or even you are walking along the road, you can't stand. The odor is too much. So I want to beg, if somebody will go and take some papers to government and come to the main road and do any harm, please, government should look into that. Because I see that once somebody signs any part of agreement with government, he is free to do anyhow. So please, let it continue. It is a very serious problem because they are ruining the earth. They are ruining the earth like that. And we are getting sick of what they are doing on the main road. If government cannot call it to matter, I'm not worried because God himself called them to matter. At Revelation chapter 11, verse 18, he said, those ruling the earth will be ruined.
Okay, that will be social. Thank you. We don't want anybody to be ruined.
Okay, so please,
thank you for your contribution.
Chemical, like we were spraying then. You know, when you leave your dustbin and it stays for too long, you start getting decay. You know, that was what happened. So it was because the collection then was prompt. That was why you're not smelling anything. All right, that was why you're not smelling. So right now, the waste on ground right now is so much that it stays at 2, 3, 4 days.
Or more.
More. Start getting decayed too. And that's the catch up I said we're trying to do right now. Where you know, some of the equipment of this PSP, they've not been able to recapitalize because the business was disrupted. They didn't know. Most of them normally buy new vehicles in those days, you know, but they were not able to do it. But what we're planning right now for them, maybe before the end of this year or early next year, we're planning to give them new vehicles so that you will not be perceiving any odor again. So just bear with us, sociable. We'll get there very soon too.
In case you missed it, the numbers to call once again are 0809 1913 913, 0809 222 0913. Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you turn down the volume of your radio, please?
Yes, it's down.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
Who's on the line with us?
Mr. Oresanya. My name is Bamidele.
Bamidele, where are you calling from?
I'm on the road, but I live in Lekki.
Okay, I hope you're using your hands-free.
Hello, yeah?
I hope you're using your hands-free.
No, I'm not driving.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Join the conversation.
Right. Two things I'd like to know. How much are we supposed to pay LAWMA per month or per any period for the services? That's one. Two, frankly, what is LAWMA supposed to do for us? During the whole period of Visionscape, we never saw anything. Not too long ago, I just bought a new bin. So as I was waiting for them to bring a bin to come to our area, sometimes I see those bigger ones.
We lost that. So, okay. We'll try to address the issues raised already, but maybe you can always call back.
All right. Well, yes, we'll still be expecting your call, Mrs. Bamidele. I think for Lekki, Lekki, you didn't tell me the area of Lekki that you are. Lekki is becoming a mixed settlement right now. You have the low-income Lekki, you have the high-income Lekki, and you have the extremely high-income Lekki. So, if it's the
Lekki mix.
the Lekki
The
mix.
Lekki mix.
But I think what you can do, Ma, is that you can send the bill. If you have a question with your bill, you on that bill you will see an email, LAWMA email on that bill. You can run inquiry on that, all right? Because I don't want to make a sweeping, a general statement on bills online, and I find that I'm wrong, all right? So I wanted to send in so that we treat it as on a specific note.
Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Vladimir Oresanya.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Tohi Bajala.
Okay,
So, where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Irawo or Jigule.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. My question is LAWMA going back to status quo, as in the full commercial and what have you, that it used to do back then?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, okay. So, with the whole team or new intakes or there's a new style to it?
Mixed grill.
Mixed grill. Oh, that's good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you for your call.
Amen.
Yeah, I saw an update on Twitter from Ajaro, and I think he's particularly interested about the resource center at Olushos, and he's asking, okay, where's it? Okay, he said, a cleaner Lagos will support our tourism sector. Then he goes on to ask, which address should I send the letter to?
Right, the LAWMA email address. I think I'll give you that email address before the end of this program, so I can send it to the email address.
So just keep listening. We'll announce the email address before we wrap up.
Yes.
Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
No, it's Mami Dele again.
Okay, fantastic that you're able to get that.
All right. So my area is neither extremely high nor low. No, extremely low. Middle income. The Agungi, Agungi, Osakpa, French colony, Azu.
Oh, you are the normal Lekki.
That's the normal Lekki. Thank you. That is the area. That's one. Two, the bill that I get is actually issued by a company. It has no LAWMA on it.
Okay, if it has no LAWMA on it, can you please send it to an email?
Okay, there's this email address. It's info@lawma.gov.ng for any inquiries you want to make. Info, I-N-F-O, info.
Okay, info at LAWMA. Okay.
At lawma.gov.ng.
Okay, just change it. All right.
.gov.ng.
Okay, just
Gov, G-O-V.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your call. So, we were talking about Olushos, and one of the questions being asked is, at some point, there were talks of Olushos being used to generate electricity, and somebody else has mentioned it. And now, with what happened recently, this administration closed or shut down Olushos and started doing capping to forestall another fire incident. Is there a possibility that we're going to go back and use Olushos for the same purpose, which is a landfill that it was used for before?
Well, yes, I don't want to say nothing is impossible. We're going to look into it. You know, what we lost during the fire in final were actually the fuel that was supposed to be the reservoir to power the turbines that were to install there then. That was the methane. All right, and that was the real fire outbreak there was. But since we're still not dumping fresh waste there, I think we may still have methane that we can still use for energy generation. But the quality might probably will have reduced from what it was before.
Okay. And I also recall that at some point during the life of the past administration in Lagos, um, I remember there was one company that was brought on board. And after the initial talks, there was an announcement that some work has started, the first phase of recycling of waste for energy. But I'm not sure if this was truncated at some point, but I know for a fact that the presence of this company is no longer in Lagos. Can you shed more light on what happened to this partnership?
Well, it was a LAWMA and it wasn't a big company. It was LAWMA, University of Lagos, and some other SMEs, social investors really, young graduates from the university that LAWMA funded. We funded them to create the biodigester at the fruit market in Ketu. And the biodigester, we did it successfully where I was powering the generator, the gas generator that we put there. And I was generating electricity from there. And the whole idea then was to be able to replicate it in all markets in Lagos where we have wet waste. So the wet waste were to be converted into electricity because they are digestible, they can biodegrade easily. So that was the whole idea, but it didn't fly because the whole thing was truncated along the line. But we're not relenting. In the new scheme of circular economy, the wet waste are still going to go back into that, and we're going to be mixing them with sawdust, lumber waste. We started the lumber processing last week, where we're going to be turning lumber waste, that is sawdust, into briquettes that will be used as alternative cooking for people to use in cooking, right, and for making barbecue or the rest of it. So the briquette production is ongoing right now at Agbowa, and part of the sawdust will also be used as an additive to the biodigesters that we're going to be running with the abattoir waste, and put them in biodigesters in 10,000 liters containers, and they will be bringing out electricity for maybe small communities and small households. 10, 15 households can use electricity from those biodigesters. So we're running at the details, at the figures and the economic figures, and see how it goes. So that once it's bankable, once it's profitable, then the private sector will just be doing it, and that will guarantee the market.
Okay, thank you very much. And looking at the time now, I realize that we've overshot our time already. It was nice having this discussion with you, and I hope that when we call you, you answer us again.
Definitely.
And for those who joined us, we say a very big thank you for joining this Saturday's edition of Lagos Talk Special. We'll be back with the corridors at 11:30 a.m. next Saturday, where we'll be talking about issues around governance and how it affects you and I, how it affects all of us in Lagos and in Nigeria as a whole. While we say goodbye, I want you to be security conscious. If you see anything or you hear anything, please say something. You all have a fantastic weekend. Bye for now.
Be heard. Have your say. Join the conversation on Lagos Talks 91.3.